Another edition of Lunch with the Shark. It's a Friday edition, and we are not relaxing yet. We can see in the background my mother. Say hi, Mom. She, as I promised you, she is cooking, but she did not want to be cooking for us or telling us what she was doing step by step. But I'm going to tell you, she got up very early in the morning today. And she is cooking tongue for us. Some people might say, "Yeah, disgusting." If you have not tried it, it's delicious. And she's preparing it Spanish way, the way my grandma used to make it. And she's all excited because she's preparing tongue for us, and she's doing cauliflower rice. I think this is the first time she's doing cauliflower rice in her life, but it actually helps you reduce the starches. Just there's a tip there for you. Well, how are you guys doing? Another week, I think this is the third week in our stay-home quarantine due to the COVID-19. Apparently there's some light at the end of the tunnel. It's not the railroad heading your way, but it's actually good news. There's news that the economy is going to be reopened little by little. Some people have been receiving their stimulus check, and I heard that unfortunately the IRS can only issue 500,000 or 5 million. I think it was 500 or 5 million checks per week. So that's going to take a while to issue all those checks or direct deposits or payments and things like that. If you want to know if your check has been issued, you can go to the IRS website. There's a special link on it. But most likely it's going to be down. It's not working properly. As these days, everything that had to be set up, it's not working properly due to the technology. So today we're going to talk about some fun facts about the IRS. As most of you know, April 15th, tax day, and by the way, it's my baby niece Emma's birthday. It was her birthday. She's 3 years old, and she had a very interesting birthday party. You know, a 3-year-old baby, it's she wants her birthday party. She looks forward for her birthday for a whole year. And she was super excited because she actually had a very small, intimate gathering. She lives down in Mexico. And Frozen, Anna, Elsa, and Olaf came to visit her. And she might have a special phone call coming real soon from V-Man, Mickey Mouse, really, really soon. So give me 1 second. I have to turn off something here. There it is. I'm sorry. You know, we're home, and my Shark Roto Duckium, whatever the hell it is, it's roaming around the house. So there it is. So let's go into fun facts about the IRS. You might be fearful that the IRS might audit you. Well, let me tell you one thing. Do you make more than $200,000 in the year? If you make more than $200,000, the probability or odd of you being audited, it's only between 3 and 6%. Okay, let me explain to you this. If your income or the profit or the revenue on your personal tax return, it's less than $1 million, the possibility it's only 3%. If you make more than $1 million, chances are at a 6% range. But if you make less than $200,000, you have less than 1% chances of being audited. So you can sleep at peace every night. 1%. It's not a lot. Okay, so relax. Take a beer, drink a beer, a couple of wines, something, relax, watch Netflix. Now remember, you have until July 15th this year to present your tax return and to pay your taxes. You did not have to prepare, present, or send an extension on April 15th. There's a granted immediate extension or due date until April 15th. Now, if we're not ready by April 15th, then you have to pay your taxes by that day and submit an extension to present your tax return. Present your tax return, okay? Interesting fact number 2. Do you know that the same way that the IRS charged you interest on any taxes that you owe to them, they might owe you interest on any refund that you might have coming? That's right. If the IRS doesn't issue your refund within 45 days of the tax return due date of acceptance, then they will have to send you a check that will include interest. Remember, the bulk of the problem, if you don't pay taxes, it's not that you would owe interest. It's that you will owe penalties. Okay? So the IRS doesn't pay you penalties for not giving you your refund. They'll pay you interest. Sometimes it's $1, $2, $5, $10, depending on the time. But hey, something is something, right? Now, do you know that the IRS might also forgive those penalties? Let me tell you one thing. Have you ever been awake midnight, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and you see those ads or commercials on TV? It's like, hey, do you owe more than $10,000 in taxes? We can help you. That's BS. Not everybody qualifies. Pretty much 99% of those people do not qualify because you need extreme circumstances for the IRS to forgive your taxes. That's BS, okay? Don't call them. You'll end up on the phone call list. They'll be calling you and calling you and calling you. The IRS only forgives your taxes if there's crucial and life or death circumstances. Okay? So don't be fooled. Yes, they can forgive you part of it. They can work with you. They can negotiate with you. Remember, if you don't have the money, where are they going to get it from? You're not going to go to prison unless you have committed tax fraud or tax evasion. There's two different things, okay? When you work with a tax accountant or a tax attorney and you create a strategy, okay, the utilization of the law to reduce your taxes is different than evasion or tax fraud, okay? So just be aware of that. But if you do not know the law, or if you utilize somebody external and we screw up, then penalties can be abated. Penalties can be waived. Now the IRS might waive you the penalties, but not the interest. And how do you do that? Well, you can just call the IRS or send them a letter and say, hey, IRS, I'm so sorry I screwed up. Can I apply the first time penalty abatement program? Everything's a program nowadays. And they're going to say, hey, well, give me a reasonable cost for me to forgive you these penalties. They usually do that. On the first phone call, they usually say, hey, yes, we'll do it, just don't do it again. They'll explain the issue where you were charged the penalties, and you can actually request this every 3 years. So every 3 years, you can screw up in your tax documents. So these are some fun facts about the IRS. I don't work for the IRS. I don't work in the IRS. But let me tell you one thing. my experience with them has been really good. The taxman, Uncle Sam, the IRS, however you're going to call it, your business partner without any investment in your company, whatever you want to call them, they're not out there to get you. Open the mail from them, review whatever it says. I'm pretty sure you're not going to understand it. Send it to someone like us. We'll review it and we'll tell you immediately what is it the best course of action. Maybe there's nothing to do because it's just a, hey, I'm here, or hey, we receive your correspondence, or hey, we're going to be knocking on your door because... That's not true. They won't tell you that they're coming and knocking on your door. But they won't call you either, so beware. Don't be afraid of them. It's worse to not open those mail. It's worse not to correspond and communicate with them because they're actually really good working with you. It takes a lot for them to say, hey, you know what? You committed fraud or it's tax evasion. It really has to be in your face. It really has to be something extremely big. Don't be afraid of working with them. They actually work with you. That's my experience. On the opposite side of the coin, with the state of California, they're not there to help you. I'm sorry. They're not there to help you. There are certain things that need to change in the state, and one of those things has to be the communication with the taxpayer. State of California, it's worse than accountants squared, and they don't get out of there. There's no reasoning, there's no negotiation, it is what it is, and I've seen cases where the IRS does grant abatement on penalties, reduction on taxes, and the state of California is like, oh, well, since the IRS forgave you, why am I going to forgive you? You owe me more money because you have that money disposable that way. So I think we ended up the week on a little bit of a funny, sour note with the IRS and things like that, but those are interesting facts. Maybe you didn't know them. Stay safe, be safe. You're all invited to lunch at our house. My mom, say hi, Mom. Say bye. What are you doing for us today?
Lengua.
¿Cómo?
Lengua.
¿En qué? ¿Lengua cómo?
Con papas.
¿Cómo la estás haciendo?
Papas, pasas, aceitunas, alcaparras y ya.
Ándale. She gave you the recipe there. She didn't want you to see how she was doing it. So, but there. She's cooking for us. We're so fortunate to have her here with us, cooking and doing things around and just having her here. So I hope you guys also are so fortunate as us. And if not, make it fortunate. You are the only responsible for it. You can make it happen. It's all on you. See you Monday with more topics, different things. Maybe we'll tackle some things for your cash flow, your finances. You don't need to know that. You just need to understand them. Have a great weekend.